Now we're going to take our listing details screen to the next level by showing information about the person who posted the listing. So we're going to have this structure, an image, and a couple of text components. This structure is a very common structure. It's something we see in various apps all the time. So we can implement it as a reusable component and then use it like this. So here on listing details screen, right after the price, we can use this component. Let's call it list item. So I'm using a generic name because this has nothing to do with the context of this app. We can use this component in various contexts, okay? So this component should have 3 props, an image. We set this to the path to our image. So we go 1 level up and then we go to assets and then load my image, or you can use your own. And just like before, here we have to call the require function. So let's wrap this in braces and then call the require function. Next, we specify a title. So we can set this to my name or yours. And then a subtitle. Again, I'm using a generic name. So we set this to 5 listings. So this is the subtitle, okay? Now let's go ahead and implement this component. So here in the components folder, let's add a new file called listitem.js. We're going to implement a function component. Right here, I'm going to destructure this props argument. So we're going to pick the title, the subtitle, and the image. Now, let's add a view. This is going to be our main container. Now, we have to set the flex direction on this container to row because we want to lay these horizontally. First, we want to add the image, and then we want to add the title and subtitle. So let's import the style sheet module on the top and then use it over here. So here we're going to define the styles for our container. For now, we just need to set flex direction to row and then use the style over here. So style equals styles.container. Now in this container, we're going to have an image. Let's set its source to the image argument that we have over here. We should also apply a bunch of styles to this image. So let's do that right here. Styles.image. And then implement them here. What styles do we need for this image? We need to set its width to 70, the height to 70 as well. With this, we get a square. Now to make it round, we have to apply a border radius that is at least half the size of the image. So we set border radius to 35. And also, I would like to add a right margin so we have some space between the image and these other details. So let's set margin right to 10. Okay, so in this container, we have an image, and then we're going to have another container. In this container, we're going to have the title and the subtitle. Now, the reason I'm adding this container is that by default, all containers, their flex direction is set to column. So here we set the flex direction to row, so we can lay out our components horizontally. And then we add a second container so we can lay them out vertically, okay? Now in this component, we're going to have 2 text components. So we import app text and render the title. Let's duplicate this and render the subtitle as well. Now, before going any further, let's test our implementation. So save the changes and save the changes here as well. This is just an image preview. It's not my iOS simulator. Let's put it aside. So we get this error because we didn't import the list item component. So here in listing details screen, we need to import list item from, we go 1 level up, then we go to components and load list item. Okay, so here's what we get. It's not bad. There are a few things I want to improve here. First, I want to make the title a little bit thicker. So let's do that straight away. Here's the title. Let's give it a style. So we set this to styles, the title. And then we implement it here. So for the title, I'm going to set the font weight to 400. Save. I don't see much changes. Let's set it to 500. That is better. Now for the subtitle, I'm going to use a medium gray so it gets separated from the title. So let's set the style to styles.subtitle, and then we implement it over here. Super easy. Subtitle is an object with what property? We're going to set the color to 6E6969. Okay, look. Now the subtitle gets separated from the title. That is better. But we don't want to hard code this value here. We want to put it in our color palette. So let's go to colors.js and define a new property called medium and set it to 6E6969. And then back to our list item. Let's import our color palette. So import colors from config/colors. And then down the bottom, we're going to replace this hard-coded value with colors.medium. Good. We're almost done. The last thing I want to add is some vertical space between these details and the owner of this listing. Now, where is the right place to implement this? Well, I don't want to implement this in our list item because this may not work somewhere else where we use this component. We want this component to be reusable, right? So this is something specific to this screen. So let's go back to listing detail screen. This is where we are using our list item component. So I'm going to wrap this inside a container. Let's move it over here. And then apply a style here. So styles.userContainer. Now let's implement user container. This is where we add margin vertical of, let's say, 50 pixels. Looks pretty good to me. Let's try 40. I think that's better.